Hey everybody, welcome to the channel, True Crime Stories. If you're new to the channel, please hit that like button and subscribe so you can hear more. Thanks for stopping by. On January 27th, 1979, on a sparsely populated stretch of road in Breathitt County, Kentucky, hunters were out in the early morning snowfall when they discovered the nearly intact skeletal remains of a man. He was around 230 feet away from the highway. He was wearing a size 38 by 33 plaid slacks, a brown and green and white printed polyester shirt, with a black belt and black Oxford-style shoes size 11D. An instep was on the left foot, meaning that it was raised as though he had a dropped foot or he needed extra support in that foot. His wallet was still in his pocket along with some cash, but there was no identification. Near the body, they found a cane and a pair of bifocal glasses. This combined with the instep means he was probably had a hard time walking, meaning he used the cane. He had this build up on his left shoe, so he probably had some problems with his left foot. Further inspection found that he had a fracture of his right ankle and had arthritis. He was estimated to be somewhere around the age of 45 at the time of his death. He was 6 feet tall and a white male. The writer of this article says, "I don't know about you, but I'd really like to see a better composite of this guy. The one I've included is the one that is on the Doe network." Now, in this composite drawing that they have on the Doe network, he appears to be bald. But in the description of him, it said that he had brown hair. So he was 230 feet away from the highway, which is quite a distance, but a man walking with a cane that had something wrong with his foot, and all of his stuff was found with him except for his identification. It sounds almost as though someone took him out there from a car on the roadway, and like they said, they couldn't determine the cause of death because of decomposition. One man that was ruled out was Roland Martin Welsh Jr. This was a man who disappeared from DeSoto, Texas. He also had brown hair, and he had a left leg that was shorter than his right leg that caused a limp. And they thought maybe this could have been him because of the cane and the problems with his feet, but they were able to rule him out as possibly being the Breathitt County John Doe. As of right now, this man is still considered the Breathitt County John Doe, and if anyone has any information, you can contact the Breathitt County Sheriff's Office. So this man still remains unidentified. Once again, he was discovered in January of 1979. They believe he had been deceased for up to a year, 6 months to a year. He was a 6 foot tall white male with medium light brown hair. He wore bifocals, and he had a healed fracture of the right ankle, and he had arthritis. And he had his left shoe had a buildup in the instep. He had nicotine staining on his teeth as well as enamel erosion over all of his teeth. I don't think that this man was a drifter or a homeless person because he had items with him. He had a wallet. I wondered if there was any other items inside of his wallet that could maybe identify where he was from, such as maybe some type of store credit card or receipts of some kind, or anything that might identify who he could be or maybe even where he was from. He wore a size 38 waist, 33-inch length pants, and he was wearing these were brown and gray plaid slacks over a long sleeve polyester shirt which was brown and white and green print. His skeleton was nearly intact, about 75 yards from the highway in a very thinly populated area. Now, this would have been out in an area where people would go hunting. These men were out hunting when they found this body, and as of right now, that's really all there is to go on. The agency phone number to contact if you have any inquiries about this man, if someone knows of someone who is missing that would fit that description, the number to call is 502-852-5587. Now, this is from Warren County, Kentucky. Warren County John Doe was a man whose body was found in 1987 off of Highway W. He had been decapitated and his hands had been cut off. And he had a scar on the right side of his abdomen. He was wearing a dark blue t-shirt with silk screen printing on the front featuring 5 blooming red and white roses, Michigan Wolverines, Big Ten champions. He was wearing Oscar de la Renta blue jeans, and they had been hemmed. These were a pair of blue jeans that had been hemmed, and they were frayed around the bottoms of the blue jeans. He was wearing a pair of white jockey shorts, underwear, and a pair of JCPenney crew socks. He was wearing a size 9 white Nike high-top tennis shoe. He was estimated to be around 35 to 45 years of age. He was a white male, around 5 foot 10 inches tall and around 230 pounds. It was believed that he had died from traumatic injuries. Of course, his head had been removed and his hands, and they believed he had been dead right around 5 to 6 days at the time that he was found. On May the 26th, 1987, a hunter found the body lying in the woods. The head was never recovered, and the hands were never recovered. His hair and eye color are unknown. Now, this one is the Metcalfe County Jane Doe. This is a woman whose remains were found on a farm by a logger in rural Metcalfe County, Kentucky. And at the time that this article was written, she was undergoing DNA testing by the DNA Doe Project. So I'll look see if there have been any updates about her. She was wearing a Hollister sweatshirt with the inscription H.Co. Surf Company with a seagull on the left arm. She was wearing decorative leggings with metal buttons and rhinestones around the pockets and a butterfly on the back pocket and the words Almost Famous on the waistband. She was wearing a short-sleeved t-shirt, there's no description, a pair of women's sunglasses, dark-colored zippered fly paints that say Close to Home. She was wearing a yellow heart-shaped pendant and 2 watches. Now, they found some Japanese tokens and some coins inside of a pill bottle that she had. And with her, she had a pink NFL blanket that said Tourney Team Advocate. Well, in one article I read, it said she was estimated to be 45 or older. Maybe if there was enough of her remains left that they were able to determine, her bones and stuff, maybe they could determine age from that. She was found January 19th, 2021. in Metcalfe County, Kentucky. She was between 5'1" tall and 5'7" tall. So there must have been quite a bit of decomposition there for them to not really be able to tell. They have no description of her eye color, hair color, or any distinctive features. Decomposition must have been pretty advanced for them to not be able to even give any kind of physical description of her. In January of 2021, a logger working on a farm in Center, Kentucky, located the skeletal remains of a white woman. If anyone knows anything or has someone missing who maybe would have been in that area, they can contact the Metcalfe County Coroner's Office at 270-579-2200. And like I said in the first article that I read about her, it said that she was currently undergoing DNA testing. I looked at a couple of more articles to see if there was anything more. This is from Web Sleuths. Sometimes you find comments that will give you a little bit more information, but not a lot. Now, someone says the close-to-home item that was found inside of a plastic bag. There is a band in Cincinnati, and there's also a place in Columbus, Ohio called Close to Home Primary Care, which is like a clinic or a hospital. So they wondered if this could have been someone from the Ohio area. Someone says, I feel that this was a vulnerable homeless person due to them carrying around these items in a plastic bag. Now, one thing to consider is if there was a place called Close to Home services, like a clinic, outpatient, or a hospital type clinic, this person may have just recently been released from the hospital and maybe they were trying to make it back home. They said they also had a Bible with them, but it doesn't say if it was an old Bible, a personal Bible that maybe had any kind of writing inside of it. Someone believes this could possibly be Cassie Yeary, who went missing June 19, 2015. At the time of her disappearance, she was 39 years old. She was last seen at the New Life Homeless Shelter in Lexington, Kentucky. This is a faith-based shelter, and that might explain the Bible. And the clothing articles could have been something that was picked up at a homeless shelter, could have been something that was distributed by some local group that hands out clothing and stuff for the homeless. And the fact that she had no ID on her, now that could also, just like the man in Breathitt County, Kentucky, could be that someone took her ID so that nobody would be able to trace who she was, and it would take longer to find out who she was. This person says, I find the Japanese tokens very interesting. Now, these are tokens that will operate slot machines in one of the largest casinos in Japan. Could she have traveled there, or could this have just been something that she picked up? Maybe at a thrift shop or a pawn shop. One hint that she may have been homeless is the blanket, as oftentimes people are known to carry their items around with them because that's all they have. Cassie Linette Yeary went missing in June of 2015 from Lexington, Kentucky. She was a white female, aged 39 at the time of her disappearance. She was 5'2" to 5'4" and around 150 to 180 pounds, brown hair and green eyes. She has large, dark-colored moles on her neck and shoulders. She was missing a front tooth, and she may go by the last name Dixon. She was last seen at the New Life Day Center where she was often found. This was a homeless shelter. Um, she called her grandmother on June 15th to say she was going to stay with a man named Tyler. This was the last time that anyone heard from her. They have been very concerned about her and have been searching for her. Of her being this Metcalfe Jane Doe. Now, her family was from the Carrollton, Kentucky area, which is more north of Louisville, north of Frankfort. Lexington's a little farther to the east from there, maybe an hour away. Does anyone know a man named Tyler Jeffrey who lives in and around Lexington, Kentucky? If so, now this was back in 2021. If so, could you please have him message this page? He may be the last person to know where Cassie is and where she may have been headed. Someone out there knows something. She didn't just disappear without a trace. So Tyler Jeffrey was the name that she gave to her grandmother when she called to tell her she was going home with this person. The number to call if anyone might have any information about her or about this Tyler Jeffrey, if that was even really his real name, is 502-662-2201. This is the words that were written from this page in the words of Cassie. Hi, my name is Cassie Yeary. I'm missing. I've been missing since June of 2015. I last spoke to my grandmother, and I told her I was going to stay with a good friend of mine named Tyler Jeffrey. A good friend of mine found out that I was staying at the New Life Center homeless shelter where I frequently stayed. Now it says here that she was given a public intoxication on the 21st of June, 2015. So they know that she was still alive on that date. A couple of weeks before I went missing, now this is from her standpoint. A couple of weeks before I went missing, I got beat up pretty bad by a homeless man. I was beaten up so bad that I had to be put into the hospital. I was diagnosed with schizophrenia. A lot of people didn't know this about me, including some of my family members. I had been struggling for quite a while. Now, what they're saying is they're talking as though this is her speaking, but apparently her family found some of these things out about her after she went missing. They started searching for her. They found out that she'd been in the hospital. They found out that she'd gotten beaten up by a homeless man, and that she had schizophrenia, probably contributed to her being homeless. Could have been also some addiction issues. My family did not want me to live on the streets, but I wanted to live with the homeless people because in my mind it was so carefree. And this is just something that someone wrote. Now, there's a story here that when I was doing the story on the Breathitt County John Doe, I came upon this story on Reddit. This is about Jessamine County John Doe. Jessamine County John Doe was a man found at the base of a cliff above Hickman Creek, about 7 miles north of Nicholasville, Kentucky. He had brown hair. He had a tattoo on each arm. He was wearing black Alfredo dress shirt, size 14 to 14 and a half, brown dress slacks, size 30, a black zip-up leather jacket, size small, a brown leather belt, blue cotton socks, and brown Florsheim loafers with tassels, size 7.5. He was also found with a St. Christopher medallion. He was discovered on April the 9th, 1981, and he was estimated to be between 20 and 30 years of age. He was a white male, 5'8" and 140 pounds, and he was in decomposition. They estimated him to be dead for about a month to a year, so that's really kind of a wide time frame. And they suspected that he died from an accident. But I can't find anything on here as of right now saying that he has been identified. And it just says if you have any information on who this person could be, someone out there may remember someone who dressed quite well in these types of clothing and was a small-framed man, not overly tall or overly, it was like a 5'8", 5'7", 5'8", 140 pounds, a size 7.5 shoe. He would not have been a very big man. And the agency to contact is the Kentucky State Police. The phone number you can contact if anyone might have any information is 502-489-5209. Now I go back to the Reddit thread that I was reading about. Could Breathitt Kelly be the Jessamine County John Doe? This was from Muhlenberg County, which is in the western part of the state of Kentucky. And it just says, update, missing Muhlenberg County man found deceased. This was from 2023. Breathitt Kelly, reportedly missing, has been located and confirmed deceased. The discovery follows an exhaustive investigation with crucial information provided to the Kentucky State Police Post 2 detectives. This led the investigative team to Jessamine County, where his vehicle was found. The Jessamine County Sheriff's Department had an unidentified body, which was located November the 16th. And through family DNA testing, they were able to positively identify him on December the 20th, 2023. The Jessamine County Sheriff's Department is currently investigating the circumstances surrounding his death, but they do not believe foul play was suspected. Now, this is the original story. The Kentucky State Police is investigating a missing persons case from Muhlenberg County. On November the 27th, they received a phone call about a missing man named Brett Kelly, age 52, of Central City. He had not spoken to his family in about 2 months. A body found in Jessamine County more than a month ago, this article was from 2023, has been identified. Kentucky State Police and the Medical Examiner's Office in Frankfort were able to use fingerprint and DNA technology to identify the body as that of John Breathitt Kelly, who went by the name Brett, age 52. The body was found November the 16th near the Kentucky River on the back side of the Bluegrass Sportsman League property. A hunter was going out to hunt when they found the body. Foul play was not suspected in Kelly's death. We would like to thank the Kentucky State Police and the Crime Lab for helping us solve this case. Here is an article from the Lexington Herald before they discovered who he was. Central Kentucky Sheriff's Office seeks help identifying a man who was found dead last month. The Jessamine County Sheriff's Office says that the body was found on the back end of the Kentucky River near the Bluegrass Sportsman's League property. Jessamine County, Kentucky. This was dated very recently, March of 2025. Timmy Sterner has been missing for nearly a year. So now this was not even the same person. What is going on here with this Jessamine County and all these men missing or turning up? Timmy Sterner's father fears that the remains discovered in Jessamine County last week are those of his son. Sterner says the last year has been unbearable. Last Thursday, Kentucky State Police located remains in a wooded area off of Sulphur Well Road. The father of missing Jessamine County man, Timmy Sterner, believes the remains found last week are those of his sons. A car reportedly driven by a missing Lancaster man was found wrecked in Nicholsville. Kentucky State Police is asking for help locating a missing Garrett County man. Kentucky State Police said they were made aware on April 11th that 27-year-old Timmy Sterner Jr. of Lancaster was last seen on April the 9th. On April the 22nd, Kentucky State Police found a car that was reportedly driven by Sterner had been involved in a wreck on Sulphur Well Road in Nicholsville. Now, authorities described Sterner as 5'3" tall, weighing about 180 pounds. He has several tattoos, and flyers were put up around the area regarding his. So they found the car. Human skeletal remains were found in a wooded area in March of 2025 along Sulphur Well Road in Jessamine County, Kentucky, while police were investigating a missing persons case. The remains were recovered and sent to the Jessamine County Coroner's Office and will be transported to the State Medical Examiner's Office for identification. The investigation is ongoing. He went missing. His car was found in the area. He went missing around that same time, and the remains were sent to the medical examiner's office, but there hasn't been anything else said about that. Let's see, here's another. Let's see if this was a different one or the same one. This was from 2024. Hikers find human remains in Jessamine County. 2 men discovered human remains while hiking in Jessamine County. Police told police they found a skeletal human remains around Indian Falls area. At this time, all we could say is that these are that of an adult male. Now, this was been before this Timmy Sterner went missing, so we know that wasn't him. I think there's something really strange going on in Jessamine County, Kentucky. I wanted to also mention that human remains were found. Now this is from just this week, April 15th, 2025. Human remains found by a father and son hiking in rural Kentucky. Now, what confused me was that there's another article later that says more human remains were found. So I'm not sure if they meant that 2 separate sets of skeletal remains were found in Rowan County. Human remains were found east of Lexington on Trent Ridge Road. The Rowan County Coroner's Office said a man and his son were hiking in the southeastern part of the county when they found what appeared to be skeletal remains. Investigators with the Rowan County Sheriff's Department and the Kentucky State Police are searching the area for evidence. The remains have been sent to Frankfort to the State Medical Examiner's Office. Now, this was dated April 15, 2025. Now, here's another article that says more human remains found in Rowan County. Now, this was dated April 19th. Additional human remains have been found after a search in Rowan County. This is from WKYT. They first reported about the remains on April the 13th by a hiker near Trent Ridge. In an update from the Rowan County Coroner's Office, they said that more human remains were discovered. Cadaver dogs were brought in from Louisville, and additional skeletal remains and articles of clothing have been recovered. The items were also taken to the state medical examiner's office, and investigators have identified a person of interest and are hopeful that a positive ID will be made soon. And one more twist to this, one more part that I will add to this, when I was researching and looking for information about Timmy Sterner, I came upon the story of Anthony Quinn. Anthony Quinn was a 42-year-old man who went missing in August of 2024. His family contacted the Nicholasville Police Department in August when he was last seen at a sober living facility in Shelbyville, Kentucky. Now he left the facility in August and said he was going to start a new job in Maysville, Kentucky. And this was the last time he was ever seen. His vehicle was found in Jessamine County on Brumfield Lane. His wallet and phone were also found inside of his truck. And at the time of the writing of this story, it just goes on to say that his family and friends have been posting to social media in hopes that someone will find him and recognize him. Now, Post 7 was contacted on April the 11th at 2024 about a missing Garrett County man named Timothy F. Sterner, Jr. He was 27 years old from Lancaster, Kentucky. He was last seen April the 9th, 2024. His vehicle was found on Sulphur Well Road on April the 22nd. It was involved in a single vehicle collision, and upon arrival of the scene, investigators found the vehicle was unoccupied. They found items belonging to Timmy Sterner inside of the vehicle. I became confused as I was talking about these cases because the original Jessamine County John Doe was a man whose remains were found in 1981. And then there was another man whose remains were found in Kentucky. He went missing in 2023, and his remains were found in Jessamine County, but it was a different man. So now it goes back to human remains found on December the 27th, 2024, by a pair of hikers in Jessamine County were confirmed to be those of Anthony Quinn, who went missing in August of 2024. The cause of death is under investigation. His remains were found by a pair of hikers in the area of Indian Falls on December the 27th. Now we know that he had left a sober living facility saying that he was going to take a job. There's one more story here. Human remains confirmed to be those of Anthony Quinn. They were sent to the medical examiner's office, hopefully to find the cause of death. Now, I don't think that these two cases were in any way related. Another odd disappearance of a man who ended up in Jessamine County is the story of Paul William Young. Now, he was an Indiana man who went missing, and a golden alert was put out for him, and it was reported that he was last seen, or that he had been seen in Jessamine County, Kentucky. Now, after a search for him, it was said that he was seen in the High Bridge area on April the 3rd of 2023. The search for him came to an end when his body was recovered from the Kentucky River in Jessamine County. Jessamine County Emergency Services said kayakers discovered the body at the High Bridge on the Kentucky River. His body was taken to the state medical examiner's office, and it was confirmed to be 28-year-old Paul William Young. He was reported missing on April 3rd. from Indiana. I couldn't find a whole lot of details about him prior to this, prior to him being discovered in Jessamine County and his body in the river. They do believe that he did jump into the river. It says here that a golden alert was issued for him when his vehicle was found in the area around April the 5th. He was reportedly seen in the area, but he had no known connections. His family said that they didn't know of anyone that he knew or had any connections with in Jessamine County, Kentucky. And what brought him there, they just don't know. So whatever was going on with him, whatever caused him to leave Indiana, it doesn't say. I couldn't find anything going back to the days leading up to his discovery. And so that was just another strange and unusual tale of someone ending up in Jessamine County. Now, I'm not saying that there's any kind of curse or anything like that. I don't want people to get the idea that I'm suggesting something like that, but there's something going on that I just found it very strange that, and I even typed in strange disappearances or missing persons in Jessamine County, Kentucky, and of course AI comes back with how there's nothing strange going on in Jessamine County, Kentucky. But I just kind of felt like there's something going on there. There's something that draws these people there, because the one man was from Muhlenberg. The other man that was found in 1981, no one knows where he was from because they still haven't identified him. And as much as I searched and looked, I could not find even one photograph of the clothing or anything that he was wearing. I just thought it was very odd and unusual that so many people are turning up missing in Jessamine County, turning up remains being found in Jessamine County. And what's the draw there? What's going on there that's bringing these people to their demise in this county? And I appreciate everyone for taking the time to watch. I wanted to put together some missing persons, some Doe stories about some of these people who have been unidentified and still remain missing. Thanks for watching.